มาค่ะอีทบูดออกมาแล้วค่ะอังเปาค่ะมันต้องยาวขนาดไหนวะด้วยหกหมดแล้ว
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to ESL 1 Kuala Lumpur! Fantastic. We've had one series so far today. It was a joy to watch, but we have so much more action for you now, especially in this series. Welcome, my friends, to two titans of the scene battling it out. One of them will go down to lowers. One of them will continue on, but all of us are going to have a fantastic time. So, KL, are you ready for the next series? Fantastic. So, allow me to welcome to the stage your first team. Will they be a ray of sunshine, or will they be a stingray whose barb is pointed at the heart of their enemies? Ladies and gentlemen, bring out Azure! And their opponents coming out once again. They are no strangers to the main stage, but this will be their first time coming out here for you today. A lot of fans in the audience, a lot of people that want to take them down, but can anyone top them? Your champions of 2023 throughout the entire year, except for that one tournament. Ladies and gentlemen, let's bring out Gaming Gladiator!
อีทบูพี่โรงกูไปไหนเมื่อกี้ไม่มีสัมภาษณ์มาแล้วไอ้ตาทบของเขาบอกจริง
And with that, our two teams are on the stage and ready to get started. So thank you so much, teams, for what we can imagine will be a fantastic show of the best players in all of Dota 2. But I must ask one last time, KO, let's make some noise for these boys! All right, fantastic. We'll get them into those booths. We'll get them into that game, and I'll get you back to that beautiful tsunami panel.
Thank you very much, Flex. I am feeling the energy from over here. The atmosphere is electric and people are ready to watch some Dota. But these two teams actually had some time off. They had a whole day after the patch dropped to sit back and relax. Meanwhile, I had my three analysts agonizing over the Dota that we've watched, so I'm gonna go down the line. Perch, of all of the heroes that got changed, which one do you think moved up in stocks the most after the games that we watched yesterday, from basically irrelevant in the group stage, or maybe just semi-situational pick to now you really got to worry about it?
I think Lesh is the scariest one of them, and especially because it's a gladiator's specialty. That's probably the most overpowered looking hero, but I'm thinking about Storm maybe. I'm watching him closely. Not sure if it's OP yet.
Okay.
Or Bet Boom special.
I like the coin flip. Winter, who you got?
Lion, our favorite lion.
Are you being sarcastic right now?
Okay, fine. Maybe not lion. Lion's kind of like a little bit overrated, but yeah, like Kevin mentioned, Lesh is probably the best hero right now, and it's going to be interesting to see how different teams come up with different solutions, because you might want to use the bans for other things, and if you can trap your opponent in a best of 3 in the first game, you give them the best hero and you beat them, it's a morale victory.
อ๋อเหรอ
Definitely. Effie,
Aw.
which hero you got?
อ๋อ
I have
ใช่
to agree with
ต
the
กกันไปด้วย
Lesh.
ว่ะ
I also
ดู
agree
เลย
with Purge on the Storm Spirit. I think Storm Spirit is looking very good, especially when we saw Bet Boom first phase it twice in a row and still win with it.
Oh, yeah,
Let's
but-
not forget that for teams like Game and
Oh,
Storm
Lord.
has always been a high tier pick. Also, when you talk about the Lesh, you have to talk about the heroes that amp him up, which also got
ทำไมได้
buffed.
ทุเรศ
The
ไม่
Aura
ได้
in
จีดี
particular,
ไอ้มิน
it
ดี้
has DPS now on the tether, and I'm a little bit disappointed that nobody wanted to experiment with it, because now that it has a stronger laning presence and heroes that it typically enables are back in the meta, it might show up, and if there's a team that's going to run it, it's going to be Game.
Yeah, I feel like during the group stage, the only time we ever saw the IO was when it was paired with a carry gyro. But Liquid, their pairing, I suppose, for their last strike was the Crystal Maiden, which I suppose may have just been a Liquid specialty. I don't know how much other teams are going to put their hands on it.
In some ways, the CM is better because it provides lane kill threat. Like yesterday, we saw CM used so effectively against Falcons. Crit's Weaver consistently was stomping in the tournament, but that game, it just looked weak.
Yeah.
The Frostbite into Silence and Bloodseeker was great. So there's a lot of offensive things that CM enables while also giving mana to the Leshrac that are just better in some ways.
So I want to say, I have a theory that Underlord is actually really good. No
Ooh.
team's picked it
Oh.
yet. I think it'll be really good this patch, because I feel like now, if you have offlaners who can build that Helm of Iron Will into Veil, that could potentially be a new strat of Dota, because
Yeah.
Veil feels like a very strong item, but you need the build up to feel really good, and you need it to be Yeshivas. And I feel like of all the offlaners who do that, it's
ออฟ
gonna
เลน
be
เล่น
Underlord.
ง่าย
That's a
ขึ้น
really, really
พี่
good
ว่าออฟ
idea
เลนเล่น
because
ง่าย
you
ขึ้นแพท
need
เนี่
this
ย
AoE magic
โอ้
damage
ของ
to make
ต้น
use of
เกม
it,
มันออก
but
ได้
you
เลย
want
หลายชิ้น
survivability, and
ออกได้แบบ
most
หลากหลาย
offlaners
แม่
aren't this like AoE magic
ยิวต่อ
damage. They're
ได้
like,
เยอะ
I'm gonna jump and stun you, not so much farm. So Veil would accelerate your farm
Yep.
while giving that lane stand.
Underlord is like a hero Ace definitely likes to play, and I feel like maybe with the new change that you have some damage on the root, you might want to maybe get the root more points, because usually the old build is like you get 1 point in the root and then you max your atrophy aura.
Yeah. I mean, it might sound a little nerdy, but I remember during TI10, there was this whole armlet theory craft going on that only really got figured out towards the end. And it was these offlaners who could build that Helm of Iron Will into the armlet that were being picked all the time. And by having an offlaner who can build that item that helps them sustain in the lane, it enabled their position 4 to rotate to the mid lane. So I don't know, something about this meta reminds me a little bit of TI10 meta, and I'm hoping one team experiments with it and proves me right about this theory.
I'd love to see it. As a Ray, though, they're sticking to what's tried and true.
ไม่พอเหรอ ไม่ต้อง
Not the strongest hero in the
Not
lane,
the team
but
aim
it does
and the
give
lane.
you the flexibility of moving your lanes. I think when you're on the first pick side, you don't have the
Ooh,
overall last pick. Having a flexible hero gives you a lot of advantage in the draft.
He feels decent at the moment. You've got BKB piercing stun if you end up against a lifestealer, a common hero right now. You've got easy follow-up. There's lots of armor items right now, which is really going to benefit him as a high-strength gain hero as well.
I like that you brought up Lifestealer Purge, because this is one of Lowe's most successful
Tong.
heroes. And you could look at it for either team right now, because it pairs very well in infest bombs with both of these heroes, but it also lanes quite well against either.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of like the games right now at the highest level is about how easy can the enemy kick your core out. If your core can sit in the lane and farm, and the enemy has to bring like, 3 people or 4 people to kick you out, then it gives you a strategical advantage on farming on the map. And a team like Gaming and Gladiators, for example, they like to farm across of the map. And if you force them to bring many heroes to kick your carry out, for example, then it might make them uncomfortable playing the map.
And if you fail to gank, then you're just like way
you're
ahead
screwed.
in net worth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're going to really feel that pressure when they group for fights.
I mean, this is the reason why like we've seen a lot of like morphling, lifestealer recently. It just gives you that advantage, because of the twin gates and everything, like the supports can cross over the map to kick you out. You want to have a core that's really, really hard to pick up.
You guys are clapping for him, but you know he's been wrong every single time, so.
Sometimes I feel like teams make the mistake of
Eh.
draft not drafting appropriate heroes around the Slada. They are just picking Slada for the sake of having a flex hero or just having they rate the hero highly. I do feel like right now when you have this hero, you want to have a lineup around it to make the pick very, very good. Like physical damage hero will be, for example, or CM in this case would be a hero that would give Slada a lot of kill potential on the side lane, and it will kind of solve some of his mana issues.
ขาแม่งเก่งขึ้น
And
ตั้
this
งเยอะ
game card is super imba good
Yeah,
against Primal
sure,
Beast.
Kevin, the sharp.
Look, he's charging in. You jump back, he hits the clone, instantly frostbite. He's trampling, hitting the ground, you do it again, instantly
But
frostbite.
yeah, that's actually.
His movement speed by 20%. That's 20% less trample.
ไม่ได้
Primal
ดู
has
ไม่
to
ได้
buy BKB early, like maybe into BKB, but I wouldn't be upset about like rushing the BKB this game. You know, like he needs to be able to deal with this crystal man. And Clockwork's kind of decent hero.
CM come back, you know บอกแล้ว CM แม่งเก่ง
Both heroes are not heroes that like to see the Clockwork early on.
Until you buy shard and then you get out of that cog.
ก็ชัดปรับใหม่ไง
Kevin, the
รถ
shard.
God damn it, Perch.
Can't
So then,
beat it.
based on
Rush
the
it.
fact that Primal Beast has kind of been semi-answered, do you have any preference between putting it mid and
good F
offlane?
why?
Because those were the flex
Fuck, I don't want-
potentials. Now that some of the answers have come up,
I don't know if I'd say it's answered yet. I mean, these are circumstances that could happen, but it could also be Primal Beast charges in and blows her up in half a second.
True.
Picks her up in the air and somebody kills her before she even hits the ground the first time, you know?
I mean, I think Primal as a hero is always going to be fine because they can always itemize against his counters, and it's more so about can you exploit how strong he is in the early game, can you get those kills on lane, and we'll see. Snapfire is one of the better supports at enabling this Primal Beast with that cookie, and she did get some nice, quality of life changes. She got more damage on her spells, making her more viable, and now it makes the Clockwork make a lot more sense, right? Outside of protecting the Primal Beast pick that you have by taking Clock for yourself, now you have the classic Hogs into Mortimer's Kisses combo.
Yeah, she's very, very strong against the Slada throughout the whole game. Like Slada doesn't like to buy early BKB, right? You always try to delay your BKB. You wanna get your blink. Sometimes you get a Midas, sometimes you get your Axe. So the Mortimer's Kiss is going to be very, very deadly against the Slada. So they're going for the minus armor. And the other thing about the Weaver is he can use the aura from the CM. Weaver kind of tends to need a lot of mana when he's running around killing people. So the CM definitely also helps the Weaver. And I like the overall direction that gladiators are going right now. They're trying to play very, very quick Dota. Not many long cooldown spells. Win the lane and just try to run the enemy team over.
Even like Weaver
ก็ไม่
CM
ต่าง เขาก็มี
Nova
สอง
lowers
ตา
attack
สอง
speed,
หู
so
หนึ่ง
it's
จมูก
harder to
เหมือน
kill
กัน
the
มี
bugs.
ปาก
They're
เหมื
in
อน
trouble
กัน
too,
แต่
so
เขาล่อ
a lot of
ไง
synergistic ways that Gaimin's lineup fits together well.
เขาล่อน่า
And
รัก
also, you're
แก
just keeping your flex open. This Weaver can be run as carry, it can be run as position 4. It just depends on what you want. But now you also have faster Roche with the Weaver and the Slardar, which is going to be really important given that there's this new Roche mechanic with the banner and the Roshan's
เจโร
Roar,
สี่เหรอ
whatever it's called.
เฮ้ยเจโรห้าเอ๊ะเจโรสี่
So what, a core gyro here?
Doesn't have
ไม่
to
โล
be.
of this tournament, Duraccio has played more Gyro. He hasn't played Weaver Core yet.
Yeah, I feel like Celery is going to play the CM.
มันก็ต้องเป็นแครี่แล้วเวเวอร์อะ
Probably
เวเวอร์สี่เหรอ
with the Gyro being a carry, and you can abuse the minus armor on the Weaver and on the Slada. You're also another hero that kind of likes the CM aura as well. So I think overall, Gaming Gladiators have a very, very good synergistic lineup that works with each
ไม่เล่น
other
ห้า
very
ใจ
well. You
สิ
can go around
แต่
the
เขา
team
บอก
gate.
ว่า
And Mars is a classic counter towards the
แต่เขา
Gyro.
บอก
You
ว่า
block the
ใจ
damage
โรเป็นแค
with
รี่
the
เพราะว่า
arena.
ลาดาชิโอน่าจะเล่น
And it's the
เราเล่น
XSS special,
เล่น
right?
เล่น
One
ใจ
of
โร
his
แค
better
รี่
heroes.
Yeah.
He's so good on this hero, and this hero got so many nice quality of life changes, especially with that backswing being removed from Spear. Now you can just do the Spear into Arena combo that much faster.
I'll
You
go-
also have the
I'll tell
longbow
นะคะพี่
combo
อุตส่าห์มานั่งเฝ้า
where
ทุกวันขนาดนี้
Mortimer's Kisses. This used to be an El Clasico about 2 years ago. So Azure have very, very strong team fight.
Yeah, when they put all their buttons together, it's definitely
เขาก็วางนั่นแหละ
three people are going
แล้ว
to
คน
die
ไม่ได้
if
อ่ะ
they don't have
เวเวอร์ไม่ได้
BKBs
ปรับ
type
ปะ
thing,
ไม่ได้
so
ปรับเนาะไม่ได้ปรับอะไร
very, very good looking lineup so far. It's going to make, I mean, I guess Mars can flex too, but I feel like we only see him offlane these days, so makes the Primal Beast likely mid. That's the downside to the Zero lineup. It's
จะปรับ
not nearly as
ไม่กี่ตัว
well
แต่
swappy
ของ
as
เปลี่ยนเยอะมาก เมื่อวาน
I
นั่ง
think
ฟัง
AR are kind
ของมี
of
คาตา
banning the right
โอ้
heroes. So I feel like because
ฮีโร่
they
ไม่
have
เท่า
this
ไหร่เว้ย
overwhelming
ฮีโร่มีแค่
magic
บาง
damage
ตัว
from
ที่แบบ
the Mars and
เก่ง
Snapfire,
ขึ้น
even the Clockwork
แต่บาง
and
ตัว
the
ก็ปรับมา
Primal.
นิด
So
นึง
they are
ก็เลย
kind
ไม่
of
มี
trying to
อิมแพ
ban
ก
out
เท่า
all
ไหร่
the heroes that can buy pipe on the
ของ
offlane
เปลี่ยน
for
เย
the
อะมาก
Gladiator team. Because they kind of just need somebody to be able to stand in front.
เปลี่ยน
buy
หมด
the
เลย
team
อ่ะ ของ
items
ต้น
and
เกม
tank
คือเปลี่ยนหมด
everything.
เลยอ่ะ
And for AR, they're looking to round up the drop with the carry against Gyrocopter. You tend to think about like Life Stealer maybe. Terrorbird could be a good option as well, but it's banned.
So then where are Azure expecting the Slardar to go?
I think it's a mid
Mid?
Slardar for now.
ครับ CM
What it
CM
looks like,
ฉาดปรับ
especially
ใหม่
if
เขา
this
ควร
time was
ควรจะเป็นอย่างนี้ตั้งนาน
revealed
ละ
cleanly, which it is with the
มึง
Mercy.
จะไปรู้เวลาแตกได้ไงวะ ถ้ามึงแบบ มึงไม่ทุบให้มันแตกเองอะไรมันจะมีประโยชน์เหี้ยเลย ไม่ได้มีประโยชน์เลย
High armor to deal with the Slaughter, the Weaver.
Or Luna or Draw Ranger. I think nobody's been brave enough to pick this
ตัวเลน
draw.
เจอร์ก็ดีนะ แต่ว่าจะโดน
Hero existed.
She
Hida
now
เข้า
reveals invisible units with her
Game
sets.
changer.
She also will do DPS in this morning's
There goes the
arena.
Weaver.
There it goes. No, but also Luna didn't get too impacted, I feel, by the last patch, and she was looking overall very solid. Typically you'd like a ranged carrier to pair with this position 5 clockwork.
แต่ว่า
You don't necessarily
จริง
need
ๆน่า
one,
จะเล่น
but
บ
it
อย
just
อ่ะ
gives your draft a more rounded out approach in lanes.
I think it's a good idea. It matches
มัน
up
ก็
very
ดู
well
ตัวติด
against
ใกล้เยอะ
Slaughter.
แล้วนะ
I think
น่าจะ
it's
เป็น
one
ตัว
of
ติด
his
ไกล
top 5 worst matchups, actually. They do end up banning it.
อ๋อแบนลูน่า
It would have been good for them too, Aura with Weaver too. So
Muerta could also be very good for Azure, right?
Yeah,
ตัว
could be good
ที่
as
อยู่
well.
ระยะไกลอ่ะ อยู่ข้างหลังอ่ะ
Yeah, you can't take physical damage. You kind of
เขาเป็นตัวเข้าให้แล้ว3 ตัวแพรรี่เป็นตัวที่อยู่ข้างหลังตอนเนี้ยว่าดี
silence against Weaver too.
แล้วฝั่งไกมินเนี่ยเล่นเกมไวเว้ย คือจะไม่เล่น4 กับ 1 เล่น 5 อันเนี้ยเพราะใจโลมันจอยไฟได้ตลอด
Minus armor draft. They also may have gone for Lone Druid.
I don't like that hero so much, especially now that this
Warlord.
hero starts with 0 armor and you're playing against something like a Weaver in the first place. It feels
Yeah.
ไม่เก่งถึงเท่าวอลลอดอ่ะ มันยังไม่ปรับแพทนี้มันยังไม่
I'd
บั
like
ฟ
to
เลย
see
นี่
the Muerta come out or the Draw Ranger, one of the
ปรับ
two.
มานิดเดียวเลย
Let's see if Azure are confident that this Slaughter is going to go mid and ban out another offlaner. They already took out your Underlord.
เดาไม่ได้อะคือแบบไม่รู้ว่าเขาต้องเล่นตัวอะไรเลยเว้ย
Okay, that's
They watch the cosplay.
all right.
โอ้เมดูซ่า
Counter.
Yep.
So when you take damage field damage, your armor literally does not matter.
True.
So against a Slaughter and a
เฮ้ยแต่
Weaver,
มันบัฟ
they
มานี่
can't
มันยิง
amplify their damage.
มันยิงจาก
They
2 เป็น
do
3เลยยิงงูอ่ะ
diffuse the
งู
blade
เวล
buyers,
แรกอ่ะ
so that is a solution, but it's a cool
เฮ้ย
spin
โอเค
idea.
เอาเรื่องอยู่นะ ถ้ายิงต้น
It's a
เกมแบบ
very, very
3 ตัว
interesting
เจ็บ
idea.
อยู่เด้อ
More team fight for the Mars Arena. You have more disables, and I feel like this draft allows Medusa to output a lot of damage. You have 3 frontliners, so Medusa
Yeah.
you can just
มิด
stand
เล
there
น
and just
ฝั่ง
kill
ไกมิน
everybody.
เนาะ
And then she also just has, the disengage from the cookie, and hopefully later on,
เล่นได้ทุกช่วง
Rise of Force Staff just to keep that Medusa safe. And
เออ
you have the new Bulwark, which is more potent.
อุ๊ยมันเก่งมากเลยนะถ้าเขาถ้าเกิดว่าเมดูซ่าเวลแรกฉก3 ตัวนี่
It
คือแบบ
feels like Medusa is very heavily
Strong
enabled by
lane สุดๆ
Mars in this draft too.
Like the moment she gets butterfly
เขาคิดว่าเขาขาดแครี่อยู่ฝั่งอสูเร
and as long as the
แต่มัน
support
น่าจะขาดมิดเลนนะ
You have a 4-star. Make sure that the Medusa never dies in a team fight. It looks like really difficult.
พี่ควินจะเล่นตัวอะไรครับพี่ควิน
Right now. They need to kind of find a solution.
ตัว
for
เข้า
this.
ออกได้อะ
She got
ปัก
5% more damage from her split shot as
Pakman
well, so doing a little bit there.
That's a good solution.
That's a good counter.
You make
Oh.
your own Medusa.
Yeah, because that
That's
also
yeah,
got
va.
buffed split shot damage.
Yep.
เอ้า
What
Big
about the
Queen
expense ratio, though?
พี่ค
Winter
วิน
is
เล่น
too
สลาด้า
expensive.
มิด
No,
โอ้
no,
my
you need
god
cheap supports on CM and Weaver. They're gonna be actually not Weaver, CM and Jack.
Ah.
So they'll be running around creating havoc. I think those are the heroes that like to
อุ๊ย
play
ตาย
around
แล้
Darkseer,
ว
making sure
พี่
that
โท
Darkseer
ฟู
can
เล่น
get kills
ใจ
in the
โล
early
คอป
game and
เตอ
also
ร์
the Slaughter. Those heroes benefit from this type of supports. And I think that both teams have a very,
เอ้ยเราอ
very
ย่าไป
solid
กลัว
lineup, different kind of win conditions, different game plan.
เรามีเพื่อนทั้ง
And we'll
4
just
คน
have to see
AM
who
ก็
does it
ทำอะไร
better.
เราไม่ได้
Yeah, I think Gaimin have rounded out their draft really well with the Starkseer. It's also just given them that illusion counter to Medusa. They're going to hit this really nice mid-game timing on Gaimin when Slardar gets a couple of items and he can group up with the Darkseer and they can try to overrun Azure Ray. But I feel like
คือ
Azure
Queen
Ray
เล่นเองเลยเหรอ
overall have the better
mid lane
scaling with this Medusa plus Mars.
มันเก่งขนาดนั้นเลยเหรอ
It's
มัน
really good. So both teams have
จำไม่ได้
very
ทารา
strong
ดา
fundamentals. It's just going to be
ของ
a
ต้น
battle
เกมมัน
because
เปลี่ยน
it's
นะ
better.
Yeah, they don't have the best Iron Shell targets. Gyro's going
นี่
to
เรียก
work
ว่า
great
low
in the early game,
technology
but as it
ใช่
goes
เหรอ
on, maybe not as good. But I feel like
เฮ้ยมัน
the
ถึงมันจะ
Darkseer's
ช้า
only
แต่มัน
better
ชัวร์นะ
against
เว้ย มัน
reducing
โดน
just
แน่ๆนะเว้ย
damage when the illusion spawns. So if she just tries to attack through it, she's just like re-dealing damage to
ดีอยู่
herself
นะ
and
ได้โล
respawning
4
illusion. So great last pick.
Some 7.35 heroes coming
ตีมันเปลี่ยนใหม่
out.
นี่
My
ใช่ไหม
Tech Arena, are you ready for a winner's bracket
45
final? Then let's get on with it. It's time for game number 1 with Odie, Pixel, and Cinderin.
Thank you very much, Tsunami. Yes, an absolute treat awaits us here. Gaming Gladiators against Azure Ray. And the ending of both of these drafts, Cinderin, it's going to be very exciting to see how this plays out. Of course, Gaming Gladiators,
คือถ้ามันบินอีกรอบก็
here. Azure Ray, they're going to go with the low
ควรดีเฟส
Medusa,
กันด้วย
a
นะครับ
hero, especially on the previous patch, we just weren't
โอ้
really
โห
seeing.
ตึงจัด
Didn't have too many crazy changes, right, coming into this 7.35. Had a little bit of a buff here and there on the numbers. Enough to make it viable, and in particular in this situation, could it be good here?
Yeah, for sure. It's one of those examples of, when other heroes get nerfed slightly and you get buffed slightly, it's like a double buff, because the rest of the meta is shifting downwards. Medusa has a really good matchup against the gyro, and you could tell from the reactions that we saw on Gaming Gladiators' faces, this was not a pick they were expecting. The AM ban comes out, they start digging really deep until they're really thinking about it, and ultimately came to the conclusion, okay, they were like, okay, what do we have in our pool that's a solution here? And with that in mind, they end up putting the Slaughter on mid onto Quinn, which I'm
พี่
very
ควิน
excited
เองก็น่าจะเล่นได้ถึงเลดเกมแหละออกโอซีตบไม่หยุด
in that mid
ใครจะไป
lane.
สู้ไหวก่อน
But yeah, this is what often
ก็
happens
มา
in
ดิครับ
deep
แก
tournaments. The teams you get so accustomed to
มี
what
วีเอส
is.
อีกคนนึง
I guess we shouldn't say what is meta, right? Because it's a whole new
นะ
world right now with this new patch.
ตาย
But
ละ
it's
อวย
still like there's
อวย
still
ไม่หยุด
fundamental shared understanding of a lot of the essentials of the game, what heroes are likely to get played, and clearly Azure Ray did some homework here and came in with a new take with the Medusa.
Sure. And what would some of the reasons be why Azure would see Medusa as being the hero here? I think we sort of heard as the panel talked about, right? It's the whole idea that if you're going against like this Slaughter, there's really a lot of minus armor that's going to be hitting at you.
Yep.
That's something that the mana shield, right? It works great against because you're not taking an increased, you're not losing more mana than you would from if you didn't have that debuff on you.
Right. It goes both ways for Medusa. She doesn't take extra damage from minus armor, but she doesn't get more mitigation from plus armor.
Yeah.
So against a lineup that's so heavy,
มันตัวเล็ก
heavily
จัง
focused
อ่ะ
on the minus armor, you
มันผู้
essentially
ชาย
just
ตัวเล็ก
get
อะไรขนาด
quote-unquote
ตัวเล็ก
free
ตัว
gold,
น้อยเวอ
right?
ร์
Because you don't have to buy items that other carries do.
That's smart.
You can focus on your standard approach. Yeah, I think this was a genius pick from Azure Ray. And I like Gaiman's response too, I should say. The Darkseer was probably the best option they had left to try to alleviate this pressure and solve it. But
วันนี้พี่ทุกคนนอนมาเต็มอิ่มเพราะเล่นแข่งตอนบ่าย
in this game, and I think if the lanes
ไม่ง่วงแล้ววันนี้พี่ทุกคนไม่ง่วง
it's
แล้ว
going to be so difficult for gaming to team fight into this, this absolute massive combo that you're running on Azure Ray. You've got XXS on his Mars, which I think is probably my favorite Mars to watch together with Amar. They play it very differently. Amar is very he's very carry-like in his playstyle, whereas XXS is way more utility focused. We'll generally
คือ
go
ช้า
for
พี่
something
ไม่ไหว
like Quick Refresher and
พอ
Amara
ช้า
items.
พี่ไม่ไหวพี่ขอกับเกมสุดท้ายพี่ก็ไม่ไหวพี่ขอปล่อยจอยแล้วกัน
Let's make that clear. His cast around him do so much AoE damage.
Talking about Mars,
That's a
if
good
we actually
pause.
on the pause.
XD.
Right, quick, Sin, look to the future. What's happening here? Is somebody dying?
Well, he rebuked a Weaver.
คือแบบ
He's gonna Shikuchi and run away.
มันถึงจะซัดกันแล้ว
Nobody's dying.
Duracho should be
Mouse?
The question is,
well,
do Gaming Gladiators want to take this fight? Are they going to be running up it?
I think the moment this unpauses, both heroes will
แล้วกล้อง
run
เขาบังอะไร
away.
ปะ
That's my take. I think XXS realizes now that he's spotted that the rest of and the Weaver will want to not get caught by anything, which
แต่บังกัน
this is why they ran the Weaver in front. There's nothing here really stopping Duracho, right? They don't have any reliable stun. There's a Snapfire cookie. Mars is not going to skill Spear level 1 most likely, so you kind of have to run into Cog.
And I tell you what, you're going to be very excited about this, Cinderin. Low, you know what he's going to need first on his item list? It's going to be the Kanda. He's already got the Phylactery queued up. He's going to do it on the Medusa, this item.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Phylactery, the crit, it comes together. You're going to be getting right-click damage. So that the damage that's coming out with the nuke, with the Kanda connection, it's going to be pretty good on this.
That's pretty interesting. Yeah, so we saw, I want to say about half a year ago, we saw this mainly pioneered by 33 in the offlane. He was playing offlane Medusa with Phylactery. We haven't really seen the Phylactery build on the carry position, but as you said, now that you can upgrade it into a critical strike, this is actually a viable strategy. I'm really excited to see this play out. You've been theory crafting like 7 different heroes, but of course not the one that's relevant, which will be Medusa. You never thought about that one, but you've got other ideas for games reaching 100 minutes where people have 100,000
We do. I mean, this is, obviously one of those items as well, the Kanda that, on a Medusa, hey, who's to say that this game isn't going to go 60 minutes and this Medusa down line might have something crazy like a Rapier. And then you're going to get even more
really
benefit from
good
it.
on paper.
So just a bit of a refresh for those of you keeping up with the new items. Kanda gives you what? The stats, pretty good for Medusa, right? 50 damage, 200 health, 200 mana, 8 all attributes. And then, of course, the Empower spell. Every 6 seconds on the target spell, so in Medusa's case, the Mystic Snake, you're going to deal 100 plus 75% of your attack damage as bonus damage. So you're effectively getting this scaling nuke now on the Mystic Snake based on your right click.
Only on the first target.
Sure, only on the
so
first
it's not
target,
on all the bounces, but yeah, on the primary target, this is pretty significant damage. And as you said, the stats on this item are really good for Medusa. Just to reiterate, right, this item gives no armor, and that's good. None of the net worth going into buying this is wasted on Medusa. She wants all attributes. She wants health and mana, so Yeah, the EHP per gold on this item for Dusa is really, really good. It's better than on any other hero in the game, of course. Dusa getting mana is the most EHP out of anyone. That's just how it is. So yeah, exciting. This is definitely going to be the story of the game. It's going to be the Medusa. It's the new hero that we haven't really seen much this tournament. And love to see the creativity. That's what we want to see when there's a new patch like this. It's a high-stakes tournament. The teams have very little time to prep. Who gets the good ideas and who executes on
คือ
them?
มีเวลาเซตติ้งตั้งนาน
It turns out this is
ออฟ
very
เกมแล้ว
bad.
บุ้งตลอดคืออะไรวะ
He maybe played it 1 or 2 scrims. He won. He was like, yeah, this
He's
is
maybe
own.
not played it at all.
Yeah, maybe he has.
Theory crafting's
Yeah.
been there for low. He's turned up and he's ready to bring out this new item build on the main stage here in the winner bracket final. Talking about good ideas from Gaming Gladiators, do you like that response to the end of it all? As you said, they probably weren't expecting them to
รูปโปรเจกต์อีกทีเมษาปะ
bring out the
เอพิว
Darkseer to close things up.
Yeah, I don't really think there was a carry solution, and I don't know if there was a mid-hero solution, so they
26
kind of had to go for the ace
26
one here. I
27
don't think when they picked the Slardar that this was
หรือเปล่า
originally planned to be mid, but it's obviously one of the luxuries of the hero is that it can play all 3 lanes. So yeah, I do like it. I think for both teams, this was a really well-executed draft. I would say both of the last picks I could argue for being the best individual hero for either team in that slot, so very impressed personally with the way these teams picked. The idea with Darkseer, of course, is the panel covered. You put the
นิ้ว
ball
ยาวอะ
on
จ
it, so
ริง
you get an illusion.
ดึ
If
งหน้า
Medusa stands
พี่ไม่
still,
ช
which
อ
she
บ
tends to
แต่
do,
ถ้าดึงไป
and
ก่
just
อน
fights back,
ไม่
if she
ว่า
stands in the wall and kills her illusion, she just spawns another one.
มันดังแล้ว
To move, and that illusion that you spawn does a lot of damage. It has split shot just like she does. Can cause a lot of havoc. So definitely, I would say this hero I would expect it without having seen it to have a higher than 50% win rate against Medusa just in general.
Sure.
With that logic. And also, Darkseer, one of his biggest weaknesses is the first 3 levels. This hero is all about getting level 3, level 4 in lane. Medusa is not exactly one of the lane bullies as a carry.
Okay, so you think he is set up for a pretty easy first few levels on the dark?
Yeah, I think compared to absolute god mode hero, but in this case it's going to be the clockwork of Tianming, so I think, yeah, should be okay.
กลับมาแล้ว
I'm not
กลับมายัง
Tianming on the clockwork.
กลับมายัง
In other aspects of the game, it's pretty nice.
มันไม่รู้ว่าเพราะอะไรวะเพราะว่าเขาสตรีมในสตรีมทวิตอีกทีนึงมันก็เลยดูดเน็ตมาแล้วก็บวกกับสตรีม2ที่พร้อมกันมันก็เลยหลุดหรือเปล่าก็ไม่รู้
When you look across the board, it's one of the nice things about this game for me personally looking at it is that it feels like every hero in this game can have massive impact. There's no hero where you're like, okay, this